Gentlemen, welcome back to the Firebat Swiss Open #1. I am Firebat, and now Tannon Grace has left briefly to grab some food, and we are joined by Just Sayin from Team Tempo Storm. How you doing, man?
Doing great. Really happy to be casting this match.
Sweet. Have you been following up at all with the tournament a little bit?
Yeah, I've seen that leadpaint has brought a really aggressive lineup. He's brought the Druid, he's brought the aggressive Tempo Mage with Water Elementals, right? And
Yeah.
we've got JJPasak running a pretty classic lineup, I'd say.
Yeah, wow, you're more on top of this than I thought you'd be. You've really been watching the stream. So, what do you think about the matchup, and who do you think's favored?
Well, I think leadpaint's matchup has been doing very well so far. I think he's been targeting what we've seen classically. We've seen the Patron Warrior, we've seen the Handlock and the Druid, right? Like that's what's been the tried and true in this meta.
Sure.
And for that, he's been kind of building an aggressive lineup to try and counter that. And the problem before was like Hunter was just been knocked down to tier 2. You know, like after Drew's got Darnaz's Aspirant, Hunter just couldn't compete with them. So they're no longer the fourth deck to choose, and he's found different ways around that. He's brought the aggression through Druid, he's brought the aggression through Tempo Mage. I think it's been working out for him.
It's definitely been working out for him. He's made it this far, that's for sure, and he's trying to earn his spot in the finals. So we'll have to see how it goes. And say Hunter's tier 2, but Jacob's ended up bringing the Hunter here, so maybe Hunter isn't quite tier 2.
Well, was there anything interesting in his Hunter deck? Or is it just standard mid-range?
Yeah, it seemed more like I can't remember if he was the hybrid Hunter or if he was the mid-range Hunter. I think he's the hybrid Hunter. No, the hybrid Hunter I think was FPV, so he's the standard mid-range Hunter.
Ah, okay.
So, yeah, we've seen a lot of success with the standard mid-range Hunter still. Like, a lot of people say it's tier 2 and whatnot. We've seen players like Jab qualifying for the Americas qualifier with it. We've seen it coming up in occasional places. VLPS had a pretty standard mid-range Hunter in his lineup, I think.
Well, now we kind of consider mid-range Hunter just to be like, if it has high mates, it's mid-range, right? But it can even run things like Archon Horse Rider or Arcane Golems just for a little extra burst damage. Sadly, no one's running Ram Wrangler, as far as I know.
Sadly, I don't like Ram Wrangler, man. I play so many games, and it's like, sometimes they just drop it against me, and they win instantly, and I flip my table over, and I'm very upset, because I practice so hard, and it just gets ruined by some random RNG flip. So I'm glad that card's not seeing play.
Looks like we're going into game 1 over here.
Lead paint with the Tempo Mage, and we have JJ with the Hunter.
Now, who do you think is normally favored in this matchup?
Whoever gets on board first usually comes out on top. Like, it can go either way. If the Tempo Mage manages to get like early missiles, early flame cannon, whatever, to grip the board really early, then they can pull ahead for sure. But if the Hunter is able to get early weapons and early scientists and whatnot, get some traps out early and control the board, they're gonna have the edge.
And I mean, JJPasak is on the coin, and coin obviously benefits the Tempo Mage a lot, especially with Flamewaker. But for Hunter, it means he can go 2 into 2, and that's really strong for him as well.
Yeah, especially since 1-drops have sort of fallen off a lot lately in most decks. Not too many decks run more than 1-drop, so the coin is generally stronger, I think, in the early game matchups.
Yeah, Leadpaint manages to pick up the Mana Worm. That's going to make a huge difference in this game.
Yeah, Mana Worm always tends to cause problems for other aggressive decks. So what is he hoping for off this unstable portal?
Definitely not Magma Rager.
Actually, it comes out pretty well. Yeah, Magma Rager, huh?
This could push for a lot of damage.
Or, I mean, at least eat a freezing trap, worst case, right?
Oh yeah, well, that's good enough for the Magma Rager. That's probably the most value Magma Rager's gotten.
Oh my god, it's Explosive Trap. Explosive Trap is huge. That's gonna kill the Mana Worm and the Magma Rager. Oh man. Yeah, he's just gonna Hero Power Pass. Lead Paint is most likely. Yeah, well, he's got the Explosive Trap to fall back on here, so if Lead Paint doesn't read this as Explosive Trap and makes the attack, it looks like he's leaning towards it. Oh no.
It's a huge punch, especially with the Magma Rager.
Yeah, he must have thought it was most likely to be freezing and wanted to get that 5 damage in. But now he has no way to like trade against possible animal companions and things like that. But lucky for Lead Paint, JJ does not have an animal companion to play here to contest anything.
And it looks like JJ's gonna play this slow, take the value game, and clear the Flamewaker here.
Yeah, we see 2 trackings in this Hunter deck. That's interesting to me. Usually tracking isn't really played in too many Hunter decks.
What is he cutting for those trackings? Because it has to be... I mean, it's very bad for him because it lowers your probability of getting those 1s and 2 curves that you want so much, right? Like, drawing and tracking the early game is just spells death for this deck. But we'll see what he can do with it this game.
He looks like he's playing a Face Hunter variant. He's got 2 Glaivezooka, he's got Leper Gnomes, all the damage. Yeah, this is definitely a Face Hunter.
Picks up a quick shot here. Just try and piece together his next few turns here.
No, it is mid-range Hunter.
Is it mid-range?
I thought it was mid-range. We saw high mains and shredders from it, but now we've seen trackings and Leper Gnomes. So it's some like hybrid. Like we're drawing more of the face part this game than we drew in the previous series that he played with it. But he's starting to lose control of the board.
It's not looking very good for JJ because leadpaint has picked up just the perfect curve here.
And that water elemental.
And then the water elemental is going to stop so much from the Hunter.
Yeah,
but I guess he'll take the time and respect the Knife Juggler here.
Oh yeah, the Knife Juggler can just gain so much value, and it just directly threatens that Drake if only 1 knife hits.
Mm-hmm. So again, playing for some value here.
Bow hero power.
And do you think he'll go face with this bow here?
I think you have to clear the water elemental. I'm surprised he didn't end up using a quick shot there to kill the water elemental. Still just value in those hero powers.
Yeah, I'd like to see JJ maybe think about that one a little bit more, because he has a lot of damage in his hand.
Yeah.
I'll try and set up lethal in the next few turns, but now that he's frozen, that puts a huge dent in his burst damage here. I mean, if he, like you said, if he power shotted that, then he'd get another attack in with the bow. But now, it looks like he's going for more of the board control play.
Yeah, definitely playing extremely quickly, which is a change compared to our last 2 players who played really slowly.
Well, I mean, at least he's staying very consistent with his line here, and I think he's trying to play a value game and slowly maybe just ride off some damage off of the hero powers.
Sure. The Tempo Mage decks can often run out of steam pretty quick, so if he's able to just keep even, it may end up working out in his favor.
It's an interesting turn for leadpaint here. Not a lot going on before he can drop the Ronin.
Yeah, but since he does have the Flame Strike and the Ronin in his hand, he probably wants to play more of the control game, just trade down the board. So, without much to develop. Oh wow, that's a good 2-drop for leadpaint. Bad 2-drop for JJ though.
Goes for the Fireball face, yeah, trying to set up.
Yeah, Fireball face, push face, trying to set up for...
Well, it is only 1 damage, and we know Hunter doesn't happen to run any form of healing, so putting Hunter down this slow, this early...
It's fairly strong.
Kill command face.
He's going in!
This is it here, right?
Yeah. He's got how much damage next turn? He's got 3 from the quick shot, 2 from the steady shot, and then 2 more from the Glaivezooka.
Strike it. Arcane missiles will finish it up. Game 1. Here goes the leadpaint.
Yeah, Arcane missiles just dealing so much damage on that empty board. 5 damage dealt by that Arcane missiles because it's got the spell power and buffs the mana word. 1 mana deal 5 is a pretty good card.
We saw a very fast change of face there. JJ decided not to go for the value game anymore. He saw the fireball, he knows leadpaint probably has some form of burn, and just decides to go face on that last turn. Didn't end up working out too well for him, but I think I probably would have made the same line. But I might have adjusted to face damage a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I mean, when you draw all the damage parts of your deck and you're not hitting those shredders, you're not hitting the high main, you're not hitting the low thep, you don't have the value creatures to play the value game, you gotta commit to playing the all-face game, and he made the transition to start doing that, but may have made it a little too late, and leadpaint was able to race him down first.
Unfortunately, I mean, sometimes Hunter hands just end up like that. They do have so much burst damage, but they can be clunky if they draw all of it at the same time, as we saw in JJ's game. There isn't really much to do. Control the board while you can, but you're not pushing enough damage with minions. Well, you don't have a board to push damage with minions to begin with at that point.
Yeah, for sure. On Smork versus Smork, sometimes you gotta Smork.
Smork generally wins in that situation.
Really?
Well, what were the options? Smork or Smork?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Well, JJ did give board control a try, but in the end, Smork always wins.
Yep. Board control didn't end up working out for him. So left in the lineups now, it's 1-0 for Lead Paint. Lead Paint still has the Mech Shaman left. Lead Paint still has the Druid left.
The Mech Shaman.
Yeah,
How
the
do you
Mech
think
Shaman.
Mech Shaman will perform in this matchup?
Well, the Mech Shaman's targeting everything but the Hunter, right? It's targeting the Warrior and it's targeting the Druid. So it seems okay.
It should be able to get a decent win against those, right? But Druid is a little bit harder now that they have Aspirin as well.
All right, so the lineups are submitted by the players, and we're going to get into the match soon. Right now we have Lead Paint with the Druid selected and JJ with his Hunter selected again. JJ staying with the same class that's been pretty consistent throughout the tournament. There's only been one player so far that hasn't actually just re-queued up their class once they've lost with it.
Well, he figures that he needs to get a win with the Hunter anyway, right? It doesn't really matter if he queues into Warrior or Druid at this point. I think both of those matchups are fairly unfavorable. But
yeah, he's gonna get the Druid though. I think he prefers the Druid over the Warrior.
I must protect the wild.
I'd say so. His deck seems pretty aggressive. Hopefully, if Lead Paint doesn't hit a good Druid hand, he can just clear the Hunter win here.
You know, Lead Paint's hands looking
as well.
Lead Paint's hands looking pretty good here with the Wild Growth and Aspirant and even like removal tools.
That's like
a pretty
good Druid player.
That's for sure.
That's like picks up the turn 1 tracking.
Yeah, it's an interesting card for sure. Running 2 of them in his Hunter deck. He's gonna opt to take the tracking over the damage. So he's passed up on a quick shot and a kill command. So later in the game when he's looking for that reach, it's gonna be pretty unlikely for him to find it.
How do you feel about picking up quick shot there, just in case Lead Paint has the Darnassus?
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded picking up quick shot. Well, okay. I think he's gonna lean on this Bear Trap to do work for him.
Well, no one expects the Bear Trap.
No one expects the Bear Trap. We saw it earlier go off against Freeze Mage, actually, allowing him to get a win against Freeze Mage. Yeah, no one plays around Bear Trap at all. Not even a thought in Lead Paint's mind about Bear Trap, and that's what makes the card so effective, right?
Well, Lead Paint's hoping that this is actually Freezing Trap, right? Because if it is freezing, you freeze the Darnassus, you're not getting hit for 2 damage, but he gets to keep that Mana Crystal.
Yeah, and then he can play the Darnassus again in the future for a possible other Mana Crystal. Yeah, wow, this Hunter deck is definitely a hybrid Hunter. The first time we saw it, it looked like a mid-range Hunter against the Freeze Mage. It just drew like Double Shredder, Loatheb, High Main. And now we're seeing it against the Druid again, all of the Smork cards.
So what I'm thinking is going on here is he's cutting some of the more charged creatures, like the Wolf Riders and the Arcane Golems for these trackings, right? And he's hoping that the tracking can help him pick out the right cards for the matchups. Like if it's against a control deck, you pick up the High Main. If it's against an aggressive deck, maybe you pick up a Explosive Trap or something.
Sure, adding some more consistency into the hybrid Hunter.
He even passes up Dr. Boom here in favor of getting the companion. It's always Leon.
Yeah, I mean, the curve is extremely strong to follow, and he's going to respect that and give up Dr. 7. Choose the claw and charge. That's brutal.
So, again, we see JJ stuck with more weapons than he can hold. And
yeah, that's a disadvantage of playing double Glaive Zuka, double Eaglehorn bow. Sometimes you draw all of them, and when you do, time to Smork.
I mean, it's very unfortunate for JJ at this point. That's 2 games now where his Hunter hand draw has been fairly poor.
Yeah, 4 weapons even with using trackings. That can't feel good, man.
It's pretty unlucky on his end, and he even passed up a lot of burn on that first tracking. So this face clown here, he knows he's missing 1 kill command and 1 quick shot from his deck already. So it's gonna be hard for him to piece out the rest of this burn damage.
Yeah, and lead paint in his hand currently has an Ancient Allure, so he is going to be able to heal for 5 and possibly be able to escape lethal combos.
Well,
and there's just so much pressure on the board too.
At the beginning of this game, you did say that he preferred the Druid over the Warrior, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this is how the Druid's going, I don't know if the Warrior is going to be any better.
Yeah, the Warrior is usually pretty hard to beat. Patron. Wait, there's no Warrior from lead paint's lineup.
What is his last class?
It's Druid. Alright, it's the Mech Shaman.
The Mech Shaman.
Why are we talking about Warriors? This is the whole signature of his lineup, and we totally missed it. Wow.
It's all aggressive, right? So the Shaman, he should get a win against the Shaman, right? Just a little more aggressive than the Mech Shaman. Push face damage. Definitely the Shaman has very little amounts of taunt, very little amounts, or no amounts of heal, right? So
this looks a lot better for JJ's hope in the future now, because the Shaman he should be able to beat with this deck. Sure.
Should be very, very favored for him at this point.
Yeah, against the Shaman, because you can grip the board really early against the Shaman and pretty much like hold it the entire time.
As long as he keeps drawing like this will be great against the Shaman. I hope he doesn't draw like Boom and double High Main in that matchup.
Yeah, that would be kind of funny.
Looks like we're gonna see the Concede here.
Yeah, Concede.
The Hybrid Hunter not doing so well so far.
I mean, that's one of the disadvantages of Hybrid Hunter is you could draw either the control cards or you could draw the face cards, and it's going to cause a lot of inconsistencies. Obviously, though, it's been consistent enough for him to make it through the Swiss rounds, and it's just starting to fail him here now at the end, and that can't feel good, man.
I mean, in theory, right? The Hybrid Hunter, the tracking is so good because you can pick out the right cards for your matchup, but you're still giving up 1 mana. And for Hybrid Hunter, you want to play everything on curve, and that 1 mana is huge. I mean, it seems like a small amount, but...
Yeah, you bring up a good point there, where Hybrid Hunter is a tempo-based deck, and you're spending 1 mana to not develop the board on that turn. And you really want to be focusing on playing all of your mana onto the board and just dealing as much damage, building up as big of a board as quick as possible. And tracking maybe costing him in there because he's drawing it so early. It's something he kind of wants to draw later when he has the mana to spare.
Right, definitely. And I can definitely see the benefits of tracking later on, but it just hasn't worked out that way for JJ so far.
So, what are we going to see in the next matchup moving forward? He
should re-queue the Hunter, right? Just to try and sweep up that win.
I think he's going to queue the Hunter, but no confirmation yet. But it's likely going to be the Hunter up against the Shaman. And the Shaman has a lot of burn spells in it, and it usually benefits a lot when your opponent doesn't do anything in the first few turns, because they can get down things like Whirling Zap-O-Matic, they can get Mech Warpers, all that sort of stuff. But if your opponent's constantly interacting with you and playing low curve minions, it's going to be a lot harder for the Shaman to take off and get off the ground. And then they're just left with burn spells in their hand.
You see a very aggressive hand from lead paint.
Oh yeah.
Might pick up 1 Rockbiter just to be safe, but looks like Pasak or JJ has mulliganed all of his late game away. And again, he's dropped into a 2-weapon hand here,
which is good in this matchup now.
Oh yeah, it can help him a lot in clearing the board here.
Definitely going to be really strong at taking out like this Whirling Zap-O-Matic, for example. And if you can kill all the minions of Mech Shaman, they're going to be left with only things like Lava Burst, Crackle, Lightning Bolt, Rockbiter in their hand, and they're not going to be able to finish you off since you just efficiently dealt with all their minions as they came out. You're not going to get very much chip damage in, and the burn spells
it looks like
be enough damage.
Pretty poorly this game. I mean, I remember in the Archon League, right? RDU just drew 12 Lava Bursts in 6 games, and lead paint's already hit both of his Lava Bursts this set.
Yeah, that's definitely a finisher card that you don't want to be seeing early on.
And it's can't feel good as removal in this matchup, because almost nothing is going to warrant the 5 damage.
Yeah,
it's a lot of overkill for him. But...
That's probably the best totem.
Oh yeah.
So at least he's got the totem roll looking up for him.
So now, here's a good example of tracking, at least. JJ does happen to have the 1 extra mana, so he does get to use this pretty effectively here.
He's got some decisions to make here. I kind of like the Haunted Creeper.
especially when you have the Knife Juggler in hand, right? Just gives you a lot of board control early on.
Yeah.
And he chooses to play the Knife Juggler here. Pretty aggressive route.
Yeah, I definitely like the aggression. Force your opponent to use some of their big removal spells on it. I like it a lot. See Shredder come down now. Turn 4, why not play Piloted Shredder? Makes sense.
Well, it looks like we're gonna see the Freezing Trap bluff here, right?
Oh, yeah, the Freezing Trap immediately going all face. And Lead Paint's gonna have to make the attack here. I don't think he can afford to wait on the minion anyway.
This is a very, very favorable matchup for the Hunter. And
oh, yeah.
JJ's curve wasn't that amazing, right? And he's still doing very, very well here. Looks like it's going to be a solid win for him.
Yeah, I mean, the Mech Shaman really just gets all of its power from the opponent's deck not doing anything the first few turns, which is why it does so well against things like Druid, which aims to just Wild Growth in the first few turns, and Handlock, which aims to just tap down the first few turns. So against a deck that's actually trying to interact in turns 1 and 2 of the game, like the sort of aggressive Hunters are, the Mech Shaman's going to struggle a little bit. And we're seeing that here.
It's very, very susceptible to like a board storm. Like, it just doesn't have a good way to deal with the Haunted Creeper, right? Because it doesn't run Lightning Storm. So JJ can do basically whatever he wants from this point. I think he's going to rack up enough damage.
Yeah, he's going to be able to set up lethal, right? For the next turn for sure.
Get in there and fight, maggot. The Loatheb is a bit of a point of contention here, but not unless he finds a taunt from this piloted Shredder here.
Yeah, he needs to play the Loatheb and get a taunt off Piloted Shredder.
Oh, Monotron. Okay.
We might have a game, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, but still, does that just delay it for one more turn, or does it give Lead Paint a chance? Can he make something happen here?
Oh.
He knows he has to set up lethal over the next turn, so he's going to go with the Doomhammer play so he can try and set up for the Rockbiter Lava Burst, try and have enough damage to win the game, because Rockbiter is 10, plus the Spider Tank is 3 more, plus the Lava Burst is 5 more, making 18. Ooh, the BM kill command yourself in the face.
A bit of BM here. I think he's pretty happy to finally see the win here from the Hunter deck.
Yeah.
There's such bad draws those first 2 games.
Wow.
No.
Will we see another reverse sweep like last series?
Mech Shaman is definitely Lead Paint's weakest deck here. And we've seen it in the past. It can sometimes just crumble. Like RDU didn't do so well with it, and it's just not the most consistent deck in his lineup.
Yeah, that's for sure. I've had series definitely that I've went 0-3 on Mech Shaman before. I was bringing it a lot to tournaments for a little while and ended up stop bringing it just because twice in a row I went 0-3 with it, and there was literally nothing I could do those games. I just had all Lava Bursts in my hand, basically.
And it's terrible being in that position because that's just so demoralizing, having all that burn and no minion damage to push it on.
That's for sure, but we're going to see how Lead Paint manages to deal with it. If he's going to go on tilt from bad Mech Shaman draws when it gets to 2-2, or if he's going to be able to power through it and just keep his head on straight and make sure he's setting up lethal, and playing his curve appropriately, and doing what he needs to do to set him up in positions to win the game.
So what does JJ have left in his lineup?
JJ has Warrior and Druid remaining. The 2 decks that Mech Shaman's pretty good against in the meta, I'd say.
Oh,
Druid
wow.
especially.
So it's going to be hard for JJ to maneuver those 2 matchups. But the Darnassus Aspirant definitely makes the Druid a little bit more favored. And the Patron Warrior?
More favored? I don't think Druid's favored.
A little less favored for Lead Paint. Sorry, I misspoke.
Okay. I was like, really? You think Druid's favored?
Because he the Aspirant is a
Ancestral Knowledge in the
so that's a late game card, right? Just to fish for the extra burn. Not bad. That's definitely an interesting use of that card. I don't think we've seen it played in anything except for like Maligos.
Lead Paint does not have much going on with his hand. He's going to be playing off the top of his deck to try and find options for things to do. Meanwhile, the Druid has both Wild Growth, Darnassus, and the early game Wrath for removal So it is not looking good for this Mech Shaman. We could see the beginning of the reverse sweep here.
The important thing is, though, Lead Paint does have the Power Mace and the Rock Biter as well to go along with it. And that's huge for removing the first threat and then killing off the Druid of the Claw. So all he needs to do is pick up another mech to go along with that turn. You can see his huge swing turn just in 1 or 2 more turns here.
Just gotta hope he doesn't draw things like this Cogmaster and then another burn spell. He really needs a minion next turn, or the turn after.
This is the curse of the Mech Shaman here.
Paladin Shredder coming down. Wild Growth is not too helpful since he's already had so much ramp effect. Uh-oh, another burn spell.
Oh.
The Mech Shaman curse continues.
The Mech Shaman that just couldn't draw mechs.
Couldn't make it.
So, Lead Paint has an interesting option here. I think he might go for the Earthshock here, plus coin the Power Mace. Considering there's not many good silence targets in Druid, probably pick up the Valley here where you can.
Yeah, you get to keep your Cogmaster alive, which could potentially turn into a 3-2 later. So it's not too bad, just keep sticking around. He's going to opt for it. Just taking pretty much the strongest play on the board every turn to be as aggressive as possible and push as much damage as possible is pretty much what the Mech Shaman's looking to do.
Cogmaster pushes, your Cogmaster pushes that 1 damage here this turn. Not bad.
Opts to play the Drake over the Druid of the Claw and gets rewarded by top decking the Innervate. But yeah, playing the Druid of the Claw taunt's kind of scary because if a mech comes down, Cogmaster can help trade with it. So the Drake dies to the same exact thing, but fishes a card as well.
Ancestral Knowledge, you don't want to see that here.
No, you don't want to see it.
To play it here.
Well, he needs the mech. He's looking for the 2-drop mech. Still no 2-drop mech.
A lot of overload for him, though.
It's 2 mana overload, so he'll have 3 mana next turn. So he can't really crackle the Drake, even though he kind of wants to, maybe.
That's going to be a huge problem here.
Yeah. If he rolls the 1/1 totem, then maybe he can deal with the Drake. Now he's going to opt to deal with it this turn so that he can safely play minions in the next turn.
He might just try and set up the second Power Mace here.
That's true,
hopefully,
too.
Where shall I strike?
There's no way for Lead Paint to deal with this taunt here, right?
Yeah, there's no way. Like, he's setting up the second... If he had 4 mana, he could set up the second Power Mace with the Rock Biter, but if he wants to take 12 from it, he can swing twice with the Power Mace, but that's a lot of damage to be taking against Druid. Even though you are the aggro deck, Druid has some offensive power.
How about this? You crackle it for 6. Because what other winning line is here, though, right? Because if you use the Power Mace, if you develop the Spider Tank might be okay, but he's going to risk it.
And he gets it! Maybe he's got a chance still?
Yeah, I think we have a game here.
Wow.
This is where, if JJ decided to lure there, then maybe Lead Paint could have removed, but he goes with the smart option and flooding the board here while he senses that the Mech Shaman's in a weak spot.
Yeah, 2 minions is usually stronger than 1. You don't need the cards now, you just want the presence on the board so you can react to what the Mech Shaman does and keep him locked out of this game.
It's a very smart play because the lure on 7 is actually pretty tempting, right? It's like the default play that the Druid goes for, but JJ knows better than to do that.
Yeah, he's going to set up potential combo lethal. He's just missing the Savage Roar, and Lead Paint has pretty much no way to react to the combo lethal, so...
Well, finally Lead Paint draws those mechs. Well,
yeah, a little too late, and that's the curse of the Mech Shaman that can happen. This is supposed to be one of the best matchups in Hearthstone for Mech Shaman, basically.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and even in your best matchups, the Mech Shaman can sometimes falter.
I mean, Mech Shaman with that hand, it's not beating much.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Looks like he's gonna go with last try here, flooding the board with the mechs, probably trading into the lure. Maybe you pick up the Valley trade here on the Shade of Nax.
I think you have to. Like, you die to Force of Nature, but that's the only one card. Or Force of Nature and Savage Roar both kill you, but at the same time, like, if you don't go for the value trade, how do you win?
Yeah, definitely.
So he is gonna fall to the Force of Nature. So, tough breaks.
The Mech Shaman does have one more try here.
Yeah,
could
one
be
more
reverse
try.
for JJ.
against the Warrior. Otherwise, we're going to see the second reverse sweep, back-to-back reverse sweeps.
Back to back, wow. And
Yeah.
before it was like a back-to-back reverse sweep in control matchups, and here you're seeing a reverse sweep in pretty aggressive decks here.
Yeah, definitely super aggressive decks. So the Mech Shaman struggling a bit in consistency during this series, but overall in the tournament, leadpaint was able to go 8-2. Which means for 8 of his series, the Mech Shaman must have been doing pretty good.
I mean, it's definitely doing very well against Handlock, right, and Druid.
Yep.
So against those standard lineups, we can definitely see leadpaint trying to hedge towards the counter. And here, Patron is one of those standard classes, and maybe he can finally pick up a win here with the Mech Shaman.
Yeah, I mean, Mech Shaman isn't terrible against Patron. It's not like the greatest thing in the world. I'd say it's close to 50-50. If you can get like a really quick start and they're only running 1 War Axe, which is pretty standard among Patron, although we've seen 2 War Axes kind of coming back a little bit, then Mech Shaman can get some quick wins. Oh, we do see a super powerful start from leadpaint now. And
hit the 1-2 curve finally.
yeah,
Big start for him.
Shredder, like, it's a 4-drop, but still having it on 4 is so powerful.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with keeping the Shredder in this matchup. It's very smart.
You see the coin Armor Smith out. You can use Inner Rage next turn, maybe to trade up with something.
Oh, and the Doomhammer draw here for leadpaint.
Yeah, Doomhammer's not too bad on 5. That's a lot of residual damage as the game goes longer, and coupled with the Rockbiter, that's some huge burst.
Because when Patron Warrior finally stabilizes at that low health total, and you have the Doomhammer to bring it home, and leadpaint's looking like he's gonna make it this time. He's gonna opt to trade here with the Armor Smith.
Play around Cruel Taskmaster or Inner Rage possibilities. I like it. I mean, you got to kill Armor Smith eventually, right? Otherwise, it just gains your opponent too much life.
Right, definitely.
Land, clear the board. You also had Unstable Ghoul to possibly clear the board there as well.
Oh, the second Rockbiter here.
That is not what you want to see. Having the totem there is unfortunate for him, but it's not as bad as his other draws. It's still, honestly, like average Mech Shaman draw this game.
Right. He's skipping a turn here, but I mean, he has the Doomhammer follow-up, and with the Ancestral Knowledge here, he's gonna have a lot of reach going into the next few turns.
Yeah, Ancestral Knowledge, a good way to try and find even more damage. The Warrior's at 32 health because he's just had the tools to be able to answer it. And that's kind of one thing Mech Shaman kind of relies on, is your opponent's deck not having its defensive answers in time. Just not having its early game Armor Smith, not having the
Captain's Parrot.
Oh man,
you never want to see that.
Definitely not.
JJ does opt to throw down the Loot Hoarder, even though it will die to the Unstable Ghoul here.
Yeah, just cycling it out. And also in his mind, there's probably some world where the Unstable Ghoul might stick. So.
See all the weapons now for leadpaint. He's got a lot of burst damage, but he needs to pick up something big here.
Otherwise, Patrons are coming down next turn from JJ. He has the Patron Inner Rage Whirlwind next turn. So this turn he's just going to Armor Pass, and next turn big things happen for him. Leadpaint is sitting on how much damage in his hand?
16. He picks up Shredder here, right? And that is huge.
That's huge.
Gonna be 24, brings him down to 20. And then his Doomhammer is gonna deal 16 next turn. So he needs to pick up one more burn spell, and he's got this one.
Yeah, if the Shredder connects for 4, and it is.
But JJ, decides to hit it.
That's another 4. That's lethal. Holy smokes! Wow. He walked right into the lethal. He does not expect this much damage to even be possible.
Certainly not from this range, right? And it had to be the Succubus as well. And he even picks up the Crackle here, so leadpaint will close out this series with an astonishing double Rockbiter on the Doomhammer play.
Yeah, wow. So when the Mech Shaman lines up and it gets the curve of minions and then it hits the burn in that order, it's just devastatingly powerful. And we can see that here as it just takes out Patron Warrior before Patron Warrior can even get value out of the patrons it just made. That's turn 6 lethal.
I think JJ took A bit of a risky play that last turn. Popping the Shredder, right? Like, he could have just not attacked it and waited just a little bit to run a Patron in. But ended up not mattering too much because leadpaint did top deck the Crackle, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you have to make patrons in that situation. There's, like, not many other options for him there, so he took the line to just be aggressive on the board and start racing down the Mech Shaman, but occasionally that's what can happen. The Mech Shaman can just draw enough damage and get you from way far out.
What a close series, too, because we saw the Doomhammer and no minions. Even leadpaint skips turn 3, but it ends up pushing enough against the Patron Warrior. So, yeah, the Shredder top deck at the end definitely helped him close out that game.
Yeah, definitely. You needed the minions. You got the minions finally. It took 3 tries, and the Mech Shaman was able to get there.
So this is what it feels like when Mech Shaman draws well?
Yeah, this is what it feels like. It feels
pretty good.
Yeah, crazy, insane burst. That's what it feels like. And that is going to wrap out the semifinal matchups. We are heading into the finals. We're going to have a short 5-minute break, and then we're going to get our final game of Crimzig versus leadpaint, the all-aggro decks versus the standard lineup. And we'll see how it goes. See you guys then. 5